Stranger Things is a cultural phenomenon that is set during the 1980s. Masters of the Universe was a cultural icon that actually took place during the 1980s. Both of these things seem so perfect to marry together to create awesome new action figures. But is this a perfect collaboration? Or do the Stranger Things and MOTU 2-packs miss the mark? That is what we're going to be taking a look at today with the release of the newest set in this particular series, Hordak and Hellfire Man. Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan. Thank you for joining me for another video here on my channel. I have taken a look at one of these sets here on the channel in the past, being the very first release, featuring He-Man and the Demogorgon. There was a second release that I haven't really focused on yet, featuring Skeletor packaged with Vecna, so we've got them squeezed into today's video, but mostly I want to focus on the brand new release that is hitting Target stores right now, being Hordak with Hellfire Man. I definitely have to commend the creative packaging that Mattel did with these Stranger Things Masters of the Universe mashups. It's in these elongated window boxes where on one side we've got our Masters of the Universe figure. In this case, we've got Hordak with the Masters of the Universe logo, the bursting red rocks, the blue starry sky comes straight out of the vintage Masters of the Universe packaging. But then as you roll down the box to the upside down, you have your Stranger Things figure, which is actually packaged upside down. Even the text is upside down. So if we wanted to, we can just flip this box over, and there we've got our window fully showcasing Hellfire Man with some great upside down, like the trees and the vines and all the creepiness wrapping around that window box. The packaging is awesome. And this actually continues around to the sides of the box where you can see beautiful artwork on the spine. Look at this Hellfire Man image playing the electric guitar, which is incredible. And this even continues around on the back side of the box where you can see Hellfire Man, you can see Hordak, the Fright Zone is back there, maybe like an upside down version of the Fright Zone because the text even says Upside Down Eternia. Hordak invades the Upside Down in his quest to dominate every realm. He did not expect the living embodiment of the Hellfire Club, Hellfire Man, to defend the Upside Down from evil intruders. This is fun. It's not like a huge story that they're creating, but they are giving us a little bit of a reason why these two worlds are meshing together. I mean, why not, you know? Multiverse stuff, we're all used to it by now. Why couldn't these worlds cross together? I know that we are in a space right now where so many toy lines are doing collabs and we're mashing popular things together, and that is always going to give us mixed results. Let's see how Hellfire Man turns out as an action figure. So when I took a look at the He-Man versus Demogorgon 2-pack, I really praised the overall look of He-Man. I thought that the paint deco on there made him probably the best looking He-Man in the current Masters of the Universe Origins toy line. I loved the silver that they used for the armor and the sword, the gold on the belt and the wrist bracers, plus that deco that they just put on the skin tone with the extra shading and the hair. They were trying to give him this kind of darker look like he was in the Upside Down, but it just worked for a very detailed He-Man action figure. I can say the same thing about the Skeletor that came packaged with Vecna. Overall, I love the dark tones of this figure. The armor, the boots, the Havoc staff, the sword, they all have this dark kind of metallic purple color scheme to it. The face has got this really pale yellow where the eyes look like they are glowing red. I just love the extra effort that they put into the paint job on both the He-Man and the Skeletor, making them some of the best versions of these figures in this line so far. Even though these are the same sculpts we've basically been seeing since 2020, this new paint deco really breathed new life into these two figures. So will Hordak turn out the same way? That's what we're gonna find out right now. Hordak is really interesting because while they did give him the darker tones overall that they did with He-Man and Skeletor, instead of giving him like a really detailed like shading and paint deco on the skin, it looks more like they molded the figure out of a dark translucent blue plastic, which as somebody who loves translucent toys, I do think this looks pretty cool. You can see with the legs and the arms specifically, it is a translucent plastic, but it is such a dark blue that it is almost hard to tell that. Still, it sort of gives them this like ethereal glow, and there's a bit of a shine there too. It's kind of a cool look. That same ethereal glow can also be seen on the face, where you can see that they molded Hordak's face in glow-in-the-dark plastic this time. So when you turn off the lights, you get this great glow effect from his head, which, man, now we're tying in translucent plastic and glow-in-the-dark plastic. Those are like two of Pixeldan's favorite features on a toy. And yet, I look at this and I don't think it's quite as good as the new decos we got for both He-Man and Skeletor. Both of those figures had really nice painted details that, you know, I kind of mentioned them being darker, almost like they were in the Upside Down, but I also feel almost like they're really well painted Dungeons and Dragons miniatures. You guys know what I'm talking about with those great paint jobs. That's sort of what He-Man and Skeletor feel like to me. I don't get the same vibes from Hordak. As cool as the translucent plastic is, as cool as the glow-in-the-dark is, he doesn't have that same like extra detailed look that I feel like Skeletor and especially He-Man give off. I do like the shiny silver that's used on the belt, but most of this looks a lot like what we already got with previous Hordaks, and of course this is reused from the very first Hordak sculpt that we got in the Masters of the Universe Origins lineup. Now he does include a few accessories, one of which is a really interesting one for Hordak because it's a sword, not something that we typically see Hordak action figures come with. He also has this really awesome flame effect that can go on the sword. Since the sword has got this like wavy look, it's a little hard to get that on there, but once you do, it is a very cool looking accessory. So one thing I want to talk about real quick while I'm putting the accessory on, as these use the Masters of the Universe Origins bodies, of course they do have interchangeable parts, which you would expect from these figures at this point, where the heads come off, you can remove them at the waist, the feet come off, and of course the arms come out of sockets. I only want to mention that for some reason Hordak's right arm is not staying attached on mine, like it falls right out of socket. Also, we got some red paint smear on there, which I might be able to get off with my fingernails, but still, it is just popping right out of socket so easy on this figure. Like every time I pose him, that right arm is falling out. I don't know if that's a side effect of using the translucent plastic or if it's just an unfortunate QC issue with my personal Hordak. But once you get the flame sword plugged into his hand, it is a very, very cool looking weapon. It's just an interesting one for Hordak. But hey, maybe he got something unique to go into the Upside Down to fight off who he deems are his enemies while he's taking over. And then we also get Hordak's classic little bat accessory. Is this the mold from the Masters of the Universe Classics line? I feel like it might be. It's interesting because it's not really molded to sit on his wrist very well. Like it's really kind of tight. You can see the shape of it almost looks like it's shaped more for his thumb. So I think you're supposed to kind of like turn his hand over, and it looks like it kind of slides on the hand here. I don't know, not super intuitive. I don't know if that's right, But it is cool because they also molded his little bat friend, his little bat buddy. I guess you could call it imp if you want to. In the original toy, it was a shield. It was a bat shield. But his little bat buddy is molded in translucent, glow-in-the-dark plastic just like his face. So, you know, turn the lights out, you get a glowing bat creature and a glowing Hordak face. Look, all in all, I think this is a very cool looking Hordak, and he's I like the darker tones with him, and I do like translucent plastic. I think it looks very cool. And it's kind of neat looking at him set up next to He-Man and Skeletor. But while I would almost consider He-Man and Skeletor to be some of the best versions of these particular sculpts in Origins, I don't know if I would put this Hordak on that same pedestal. But I don't know, could be different for you. Now, the Stranger Things characters that come in these sets are really interesting because Mattel has basically MOTU-ified them. They reimagined these characters from Stranger Things as if they were action figures in the Masters of the Universe world. The Demogorgon was really neat in the fact that he's a cool-looking Demogorgon as if he was like a Skeletor villain. He utilizes the Beastman body. He's got some Mossman parts like the longer fingers and the feet. They even gave him Beastman's armor, so he's basically a MOTU character, but they gave him a really cool Demogorgon head sculpt straight out of the show. I also loved his accessory, which was like a dual 20-sided dice staff thing. It's a lot of fun. The Vecna figure that came with Skeletor is reimagined much in the same way. The head sculpt is fantastic. I mean, it looks just like the really creepy character from the show, and they even have these awesome vine-like armor bits that they've got on his chest and his shoulders. His body is the standard MOTU body. They gave him the monster feet, like the Buzz-Off or the Whiplash feet there, and he's also got those vine attachments that we had seen with a previous Mossman, but works really well in these dark brown colors for Vecna. Plus, his accessory is a staff that's like a flaming version of the clock, which is so important in the show. So I do think these are really fun figures. However, this might be the best of all of these figures. This is Hellfire Man. He is, of course, the embodiment of the Hellfire Club logo, their Dungeons and Dragons group seen in the Stranger Things show. The head sculpt is just the logo made into a head for a character, and oh my god, I cannot believe how well this works as an action figure. So let me remove this accessory real quick just to look over everything here. He does have the standard Masters of the Universe body with the usual He-Man style boots. He's got the Masters of the Universe Classics Triclops armor, which is very interesting. I don't believe this is the Origins one. This is the MOTU Classics one. It even has like the sculpted daggers up there at the top. It's got a space for Triclops sword. And then he's got the Beastman shoulder armor there. But all of this works really well just to make a very cool looking figure. I love the paint deco because it's like red and orange and yellow all kind of blended together. You can see how it's got like these yellowish orange highlights on there, almost as if he's like, you know, flaming or made of fire. Plus, he has got an interchangeable hand, which has got the rock fist. He's got the horns. This is so much fun. So, you know, the hands are swappable on these figures as they always are with MOTU Origins. So that allows you to swap those hands out for some devil horns on your Hellfire Man. This is kind of amazing, and I just have to mention, if you grew up in the 80s, like me, with Masters of the Universe, you might remember all the satanic panics surrounding so many of the cartoons and toys that we all grew up with, and MOTU was a big one. And now here we are in 2025, and we have a devil-looking character throwing up the devil horns, and he's for sale at Target. All right, aside from that interchangeable hand, he's also got this incredible mace weapon where the spiked mace is a D20, just kind of continuing that Dungeons and Dragons motif. I mean, come on, what an incredible looking character. And then, if that's not cool enough, as you saw when we first brought him in, he also has this amazing electric guitar accessory, you know, so that we can kind of honor the spirit of Eddie Munson here with Hellfire Man, fighting off evil with the sounds of rock and roll. I love it so much. So check this out. This is something else really cool. If you have the He-Man that came out previously, he came with a shield with like the Hellfire Club logo on it. So like if you want to mash these up with Hellfire Man now, like if you want to take that shield away from He-Man, you can just clip it on over here with Hellfire Man. We'll give him his D20 mace. Look at that! Like, come on! It's like these were meant to be together. Wow, I love it. That is so fun. He's just got a shield with his own face on it now. What an incredible figure, seriously. I mean, like, this alone is worth the price of admission for this pack, in my opinion. And this is an interesting thing because, like, I look at these sets and I wonder, like, would kids who watch Stranger Things today see these and think they're interesting, or would they just think it's really weird that these characters don't look the way they do in the show? However, Stranger Things is not just loved by kids. I love Stranger Things. So many of us are watching it. And obviously this is kind of doing that thing where it is like, Stranger Things is a nostalgic show in the sense that it's set in the 80s. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of imagery in that show that is like for us to be nostalgic about while also being exciting for the younger generations. So these toys, I mean, these are made for us. And I think these are a lot of fun. And while I have been very critical of a lot of collaborations of late, I think this one works. I think this is really well done. I think these are awesome figures. If you're not a Stranger Things fan, even these characters as toys make for really fun looking characters to fill out your world of Masters of the Universe, but especially Hellfire Man. What a cool looking toy. I think he's awesome. I'm really glad that I picked this set up. I'm really glad I picked up all three of these sets, to be perfectly honest. So these are hitting Target stores right now. He-Man and Skeletor are older. You probably won't find those in store, but Hordak and Hellfire Man just showed up within this past week. My Target had like a whole end cap just stuffed with them, so hopefully they're easy for everybody to find like it was for me. Definitely check it out if you're into this sort of thing. I think you'll dig it. Hellfire Man's a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thank you so very much for watching. Until next time, my friends.